We're live. So, welcome to my live stream. It used to be Teaching Tip Tuesday, but it's not a Tuesday, and this is not Teaching Tip. And if you are out of school, congratulations. You made it until the end of the school year. And you have to give yourself a pat on the back because most teachers do not make it until the end of the school year. So, congratulations. And if you are close to the end of the school year, keep on keeping on. That's all I got for you. Because I know it's difficult. Those last 3 or 4 days, the kids are up and your energy is down and you are ready to go. And so are they. So, give them just amount of this amount of grace. Yeah, give them that. So today's live stream, if you do not know, it's about reflection and resting. It's about having a summer reset plan. A lot of teachers tend to forget to take care of self. And I know you have some school districts talk about self care and work life balance, all the while they're working you into an early grave or an early exit or an early retirement. So you have to reset. Some people tend to think that I work all the time. That is the furthest from the truth. I have taught for 26 years and I always take time. I have a grandson who's 8 years old, so I spend time with him, and I'm intentional about how I show up as a teacher because it's not the only identity that teachers have, and I think that new teachers and teachers that are in the profession um, kind of lose sight of those other identities. And if you're wondering, well, what identities is she talking about? Those identities are I'm a daughter, I'm a mother, I'm a grandmother, I'm a friend, I am an aunt, and I show up for you all and I make time for those different identities. And that's the first suggestion and recommendation that I'm going to give you all is to focus on those identities outside of being an educator. Being an educator is not all that you are, and it's not all that you should be focusing on. So if you're watching this on the replay, or on you're here live. My name is Michelle Williams, and my nose is itching. That always happens when I'm live. My name is Michelle Williams, and I go by the Ignited Teacher here on social media and YouTube. And what I do in my live streams is I provide teaching tips for math teachers, math interventionists, administrators who are looking to close gaps strategically by providing research based practices and practices that I have used in my own classroom. And they are bite sized so that you can implement them into your classroom as early as the next day. So that's what I do here on this channel. So I'm going to move to the next slide. Let me turn my phone down because I thought I had turned it off, but it's not. And somebody's, hold on, somebody is messaging me right now. Whew. All right, so this is my crowdcast invitation. I am hosting a summer reset series. Workshop one will begin June 8th. I will be hosting weekly workshops throughout the summer. So it's an 8 workshop series. And the first one is effective teaching and learning. It's the foundation of closing gaps. And if you're a new teacher, new to the profession, new to the content area, you don't want to miss um, workshop one. I'm not really sure how I'm going to roll well after they have been done. I don't know if I'm going to leave them up. I haven't really made a decision on that, but you want to show up live because I'm not sure if I'm going to, because it's 8 of them and this page fits a lot, but I'm not sure how I'm going to handle that. But if you are interested, the link to the workshop series is in the um, comment section, and it's also in the description of this YouTube live stream. So, got that out the way. I know that you are here because you want to learn how to reset this summer. And the first thing that you should do is rest. After a long school year, and with our schools being under attack, I am making no mistake about where I stand at as far as public education. Our schools are under attack, and if you're at a charter school, yours is under attack too, in some way, shape, or form. So first things first, do not rest without guilt. If you have an administrator that is tap, 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 hey, you, I have this training, before you go to any trainings, you should at least have a week of rest. At minimum, just at minimum, a week of resting. Why? Because you can't pour from an empty cup. And for those of you all who don't understand that, this means that if you're on an airplane and you want to save your children and your family, guess what? If you don't put your mask on first so that you can have oxygen, you'll never save the family. So that applies to teaching. You cannot give what you have not poured into your own self. So you will never, never pour or have a great year if you don't rest at some point in time. Summer school, I was never a person that taught summer school. Honestly, I taught summer school, I think 3 times in my career, especially when my son was little. Let me drink some water. When my son was in elementary school, I always wanted to be a present parent. So made sure he went to summer camp. I also made sure that, whatever he needed, the fun times that we have had, needed to take with him. Those are the things that I did. Not knocking the summer school thing. Don't want you to leave with that. But if you have to teach summer school, because some of us do, make sure that you take some time for yourself. Um, Honestly, if you don't take time for yourself, there's a cost for skipping rest. And it's called mental health decline, it's called heart attack, it's called stroke, it's called high blood pressure. And you don't want to end up like that. I have seen some teachers really lose it on the job because they haven't prioritized rest. That bare minimum, I'm going to say it again, you need to take at least a week during the summer to recharge. And what that looks like for someone who cares about themselves, and what real rest looks like, is mental health rest. Stepping away from planning mode. You don't have to plan. So, like, I'm campaigning I'm running for state representative. And even with that, in the mornings, I take time with my dog, Cuddles. And in the morning, I take an hour for myself because it helps with my mental health, because it's a lot of stress. Same thing in the classroom. The next one is physical rest, sleep, movement, stillness. I generally do have some meditation in the morning, and I walk on the trails because I need quiet time. That constant noise in your head, it can drive you crazy. It really can. So, um, take some time with your own thoughts. And that's how I feel sometimes. I just need a moment of clarity and some silence. I had gotten to the point that I would drive home in silence so that I can have some time to think. So you definitely want to have that time where you're still and silent. And the last one is emotional. Releasing what you couldn't control this year. There are some things that are out of your control. And I'm going to be the first one to tell you. I spent 26 years teaching in underserved communities. That means students that were socioeconomically disadvantaged. A lot of my students work were working beneath grade level. Don't let or allow your administrators to assign value to you. You can only do that which you can do within, really, it's not 9 months. We have less than 9 months to teach because there's holidays in there and there's other thing, and then this testing craze. Though you don't have 9 months. So don't beat yourself up about what you couldn't control this year. Release that and make a commitment to preparing and to change that narrative for next school year. I have a story about that. I was teaching fifth grade, and we got a new principal. And when I say new, he was real new. Like he had never been a principal to that. I experienced teacher. I think I had been teaching like 15, 16 years. And we bumped heads. And it was a horrible school year. He packed down our classroom. I was teaching fifth grade math. I had 3 sections of fifth grade math. The behavior was horrible. The children, we had over 30 kids in our classroom. It was so tightly packed in that classroom to where I had to um turn to the side to walk through the rows in the classroom because it was that many children. And as you know, fifth graders are not small, they're not little kids. Some of them bigger than me or taller than me. So it was a rough school year. So I was gonna leave that year, but I said, I changed my mind. I didn't leave. I said, you know what? I'm gonna beat what I did last year and change that around. And I did. The next school year, I revamped how I addressed my students. I revamped everything. Did my principal like it? No, because he put me on a growth plan, which I thought was funny. Yeah, whatever. So, even with his growth plan, I beat that too. And if you don't know what a growth plan is, it's when you're not making um, progress, quote unquote progress. But he didn't know. He had never taught math a day in his life. So what did he know? Nothing. So he put me on a growth plan. I thought it was funny. I do have a blog post about that. Check out my blog at fuelgreatminds.com. And how I beat that growth plan and moved on and left because I had had enough of him. But anyway, those are some, like, you need to release what you couldn't control this year. Let that go so that you can have an opportunity to start the school year new. So, moving on, reflect, energize, strategize, and transform. This is the framework for resting this summer. I just said rest. That is order number one. The next one is reflect. Once you're finished resting, and you've taken at minimum that week, go ahead and reflect. What worked this year? What do you wish you had? In math, there were a lot of things that I wished I had, and constantly it was like access to materials. To this day, I still have a Nearpod um, subscription because my school wouldn't buy it. And I know a lot of people are like, well, I'm not spending this. And I get it. That's your choice. But I chose to purchase things to make my life easier. Because if you have goals, and I'm not talking about cute things, I'm talking about things that were important. The reason why I needed Nearpod is because I had a high emergent bilingual population, which we used to call English language learners, ESL. Um, it just made my life easier. So I like Nearpod, so I have a subscription. I've had it so long. I'm still on the other payment plan for Nearpod. So those are some things you need to reflect on. What worked this year? What didn't? And what do you wish you had? The next one is E for Energize. And you're going to see what this mnemonic spells. So R is for reflect, E is for energize. Energize means what fills you back up. I like to go to the trails. I love nature. So think about those things that fill you up. When my grandson gets here, I'm going to do some things with him. He's old enough now. We can go out to the museum where they have a space exhibit. Also, they have like a what's the word I'm looking for? I lost my train of thought. They have a simulation of being in a spaceship. So they have a lot of different things. And I love that he's old enough now to appreciate that. And we're not stuck in endless Minecraft. So that's great. What are you doing this summer to protect your energy? Taking walks. I said that. Reading, and I do read books. I know you're not shocked, but I do read books. I read a lot of different books. Currently, I'm trying to finish up another book called It's Our Time or Our Time. I think that's the name of it by Stacey Abrams. I generally in the morning take about 10 to, well, not 10, 15 to 25 minutes to read. Because if I don't prioritize it in the morning, what I do know is it won't get done. Been there, done that. Non-teacher books, cooking, not my thing. But if you like cooking, hey, go for it. Take you some cooking classes. Like for me, I have an inner art child that I never developed. And sometimes I do take like some creative classes like at Michael's. Those are some of the things that I do. Like my grandson is very artsy. So I try to do things with him. Like last summer, um, I enrolled him in YouTuber camp. I think that phase has gone, and I don't know if we're still past dinosaurs, but we're in a different phase this summer. So I have some things that I'm going to do with him. Teaching him how to swim is one of them because I told him everybody has to learn how to swim. So R is for reflect and E is for energize. What fills you up? What are you doing this summer to protect your energy? And the next one is S, strategize. If you could change one thing about how you approached intervention next year, one thing about how you approach intervention next year, what would it be? So we have R, again, for reflect, E for energize, and S for strategize. So, one thing you could change for next school year, um, what would it be? And that's could be anything. I would do small groups. I would change my timing. I would just different things that you think would help for next school year. And then the last one is transform. What does showing up differently in August or September actually look like for you? So, that if you're a first year teacher, knowing where to begin, actually doing some things different. I'm laughing. I was a first year teacher. Um, so I get it. So knowing how where to start at in the curriculum, um, making sure that you have a classroom management plan, any of those things. What does showing up differently in August or September look like for you? For some people, being more confident in your pedagogy. Pedagogy means your instructional strategies. That may be mean confident in your math content knowledge. A lot of the elementary math teachers um, struggle with teaching math content. Um, it could be being prepared. It can also be not scrambling. Some of you all have an issue with planning, and planning does not take a whole bunch of time. If you collaborate with your team, and I know that we are not in a collaborative environment, what they're trying to do is make us be competitors, and that's fine, but you have to collaborate with your coworkers. And younger teachers, this is a suggestion for you all. Their veteran teachers do have some good ideas that will save you a lot of headache. Just a tip. And I get it. Y'all have all these great ideas, but you know what? Children aren't made any differently. Are they exposed to certain things? Absolutely. But at the same time, there are things and skills that are always going to be there. Like place value is always going to be an issue. You know why? Because the United States has a weak curriculum when it comes to place value. And make no mistake, Eureka is not the solution for every student. You're still going to have children that are behind. So, how does that look for next school year? But notice that is the last thing, transform, in this rest mnemonic. R is for reflect, E is for energize, S strategize, and T is transform. So, everything that I just talked about, and I'm looking at my notes so I can stay on track and get off here if at 30 minutes. The reflection, the strategy, the rebuild, that's exactly what this whole summer reset series is built around. That's my whole thing. But we are prioritizing you first, and you really need to rest this summer so that you can show up differently with the plan next school year. So, workshop. My first workshop is June 8th. This is an 8 series summer reset workshop series. The link is in the comment section and it's also in the description of this live stream. So, make sure that you are resting, and if you have any comments, if you have any questions, drop them in the comment section and I'll get alerted and I will um, respond to your comments at my earliest convenience. So before we go, drop rest in the comment section and I will send you the link to my I lost my train, to my workshop one. And let me go back to that slide. Workshop one is effective teaching and learning, the foundation of closing gaps. So in this, I'll be using the National Council of Teachers of Mathematics framework. And, the name of that series are Principles to Action. I am a I am a presenter for NCTM, and I also, well, this in August, I'm tongue tied. In August, I'll be presenting in North Carolina. I like their literacy and math conference, so I try to present there every year when they have it. Because I believe we've gotten into a time period where we can no longer separate literacy from mathematics. It is a joint venture in trying to get students on grade level and close gaps. There's a literacy issue that's really affecting our math students in this time period. But thank you for listening to me. If you are watching this live, check out my workshop. The link is in the description of this YouTube channel. If you're watching it on the replay, you have any questions, um, just go ahead and drop it in the comment section. And I'll see you all in my next live stream. Bye bye.